Graham.
Thank you.
All right, Jamil, how are you feeling? It's unbanned, now the country can see it.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, more than anything, for a filmmaker, you make films to be seen, to be engaged. So to have that opportunity to have our film screened is it's a relief. I think when we were restricted and we were told that we were banned, it really affected us in many ways. But we couldn't have seen the interest that came from it. So at the end of the day, we want to say thank you to the FBB for giving us a marketing gimmick, if you want to call it.
Well, we can. We saw that in the trailer. The film they did not want you to see, and they you're referring to are the Film and Publications Board, who are here in studio as well. Why did you change your mind? What made you sort of change your original decision to ban the movie?
Okay, I think firstly I must explain the whole misconception, because there is that misconception that we ban and we unbanned. In fact, we did not ban.
Okay.
What happened was that there was a decision by the classification committee to classify the film as a refused classification, because in their view there were elements of child porn. So obviously the distributor and the filmmakers appealed the decision. It went before the appeal tribunal, which is a separate and independent body from the classification committee. And I must explain that the classification committee is also independent and separate in its functions. It is appointed by council, and the appeal tribunal is appointed by the minister. So when the matter went to the appeal tribunal listened to arguments from both sides, and it came to a conclusion that the film, and after having watched the entire film, that it should be classified 16 with elements of sex, nudity, and language. So in other words, it is not, there's never been any banning or unbanning. So there was a classification which was set aside, and it was then substituted with a fresh classification of 16. So what it means is that persons or children below the age of 16 will still not have access to this film.
Well, okay, so the misunderstanding, banning, I mean, you were under the impression it was banned, right?
Yes, and for me it is a banning because I was opening the Durban International Film Festival, you know, probably the most prestigious film festival in Africa. And being told that I cannot show my film, to me that's a banning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It constitutes a banning because our freedoms of expression were restricted.
Yeah.
So I would disagree with my brother in that regard. Yeah, we were restricted.
Yeah.
The country was told that they could not watch that film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody who had watched that film during the appeals process could have been arrested. It was illegal to watch the film. So to me, that's a banning.
These were the reports that we were getting as well. So I don't know if there has been a change of mind since then. So did you meet and change sort of the initial release that was sent out from the Film and Publications Board?
No, it is the appeal tribunal that set aside the initial decision. So there was never a meeting, as in us as management meeting and saying we're now changing the earlier decision. We do not have the powers to do that.
But perhaps the initial ruling, was it a little bit too hasty?
Not necessarily. Remember, we have the legislation that our classifiers are guided by when they take this type of decisions. And in fact, during the appeal process, it was common cause that the classification committee followed due process and that they followed the law to the letter. So what was at issue was whether or not they ought to have applied the 2003 Constitutional Court decision, which it was, in their view, required that the classification committee view the entire film, and although they did discover the elements of child porn, so the argument was that they should have watched the entire film and also decide whether the context and whether there was artistic merit that would then outweigh those scenes, so that same should not constitute child porn.
Shamil, as far as you understood, did you abide by the rules that are set out by the Film and Publications Board when distributing a film in South Africa? I mean, I know under the age of 16 is not allowed, and the pupil, although the actress was 22, is
23.
below the age of 16. But in the movie, it's different. I mean,
look, I mean, there was all kinds of suggestions from other filmmakers that we should show the film nonetheless and protest and all of those things. I didn't want to take that route because I'm not a criminal.
Yeah.
Even though the FPB have accuse me of being a criminal. Where the issue lies for me is, or the disappointing bit, Khotman, is that after the appeals hearing, statements by you as well as Ula or Prince was that despite the decision of the appeals, we still think that this is child pornography. Okay. Now that's where, for me, the problem lay, is that you guys still made statements afterwards to say that this, in your opinion, is child pornography, and that you're going to wait until the end of the month until you get the report back. But from your guys' perspective, it's still child pornography. Now the thing with that is that people's lives are being affected. Yeah. Just mine alone, as a filmmaker, to be associated with child pornography kills your career. It's the end of my career. Who's going to want to associate or work with me if I'm a child pornographer?
But it's not the end of your career. Have you had some international interest?
In the film itself, yes. But I mean, whilst my government continues to call me a child pornographer, you know what I mean? It does damage perspectives. I can say, yes, we have now gotten focus and interest in the film, but... Yeah. We're still being called child pornographers by our government.
All right, but not for now. It has been for now. It's been appealed. It's been successful in your case. It's going to the film. You'll be able to see it on Friday at cinemas around the country.
Yes.
Cinema Nouveau for now.
That's correct.
I want to continue, but I can't. I'm eating into news time. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in and talking. Jamil Kebeke is the filmmaker of Good Report. It's now won an appeal to be unbanned, and this movie will be screening nationwide from the weekend. And talking to us alongside is the Film and Publications Board Acting COO, Sipho Risipa.